I was born in Ball Play, Alabama, in the woods, in a shack to a black lady. My mother picked cotton for 2 cents a pound. And that day, that white man wanted my mother to pick in the barn. So that's why I came looking like a white man. So my mother let her sister raise me in Rome, Georgia when I was 6 weeks old. I had to go to an all-black school. I was classified as an N-word or either a whitey. But I went to an all-black school. I started playing baseball when I was 8 years old, right there in front of the school. And at that time, you played different positions. And then when I was 15, they sent me to a gas, and I was the only one from Georgia that was in an all-star team, but I never realized what level I was on. And after that, I started playing with grown-ups. The first team I played for was the Raggedy Nines. And then Lindale Dragons was managed by a Negro League player named Nathaniel McClintock. Nate McClintock was his name, a good baseball player. And he asked me to join them, and he had me to sign a contract. So he was able to still contact the Negro League players that were still traveling, because you had the Birmingham Blackbounds, you had the Philadelphia Stars, you had Kansas City Monarchs. So when they rolled in here on their bus, I wasn't intimidated, and I had 7 good men behind me plus a good catcher. So we beat the Philadelphia Stars the first time the Negro League team came here.
And how old were you at that time?
I was 17. And they paid a man to drive me in a 59 Impala to Birmingham to pitch against the Birmingham Black Bears. And that gentleman was named M.L. Finley, played with Tennessee State. And then there was another guy that played shortstop, Johnny Ware, we call him Peanut.
Finley, is that the guy in Chattanooga?
That's his brother in
That's his
Chattanooga.
brother. Okay.
His brother is an engineer and retired from Goodyear.
Right.
But his daddy was a barber, and his daddy picked up garbage, and he sent all his girls and the boys to college. Back in them days, it was hard for a black man to go to college or a black lady. So getting back to Philadelphia, after I went to Birmingham, I pitched 9 innings against the Black Bear, and we won. And they wanted me to sign, but they didn't have enough players because they had their youth, and I said them they didn't have enough money. So when I came back, Nate McClintock finally got the Indianapolis Clowns to come down. And I pitched 9 innings against them, and we won because, like I said, I had 7 good men behind me. We could play. And they wanted me to sign with them, and my daddy carried me to the bus station. And I went to Chattanooga and signed a contract for $200 a month, $3 a day to eat with. And I pitched a 3-hitter in Chattanooga that evening at Leland Park. And the next day they had in the paper that a white boy was on the team. So I had to cut my hair real short because I tanned good. And from there,
Now, who told you to get a tan and cut your hair?
I always had a tan.
Yeah.
But Ed Hammond said, you got to look more black. Said, you got to do something. That's the owner of the Clown. So that's what I did. I got a short haircut. It's about as short as the young man there. And then traveling on that bus, it was something else. A lot of places we went, we couldn't get a motel. We had to wash the clothes and hang them out the window to dry, stuff like that. And couldn't eat. You had to go to the back door to get the food. The only place that we could get a motel and during my time was in Mobile and in Birmingham. Now, when we left Chattanooga, we went to Huntsville. I had to play third base in Huntsville because the third baseman was Billy Vaughn, about this tall. And he wanted his family there. They read outside of Huntsville. And Ed said, no, I can't let your family come in free. That's how we make our money. He had about 20. So Ed come to me and said, well, can you play third? I said, yeah, I grew up playing all positions. I said, but I didn't excel in nothing but pitching. But I held third down. That's when, what's his name? He saw me, Scruggs. Eugene Struggs, he getting the pension now. He lives in Huntsville. And from then on, it was just rough on me. I didn't play but 5 weeks. I couldn't eat hard fried bacon, and I can't eat a hard fried sausage. I didn't like the condition. Couldn't get a shower half the time. And they arguing on the bus. Whole lot of stuff went on the bus that I won't discuss. Like Bully Rag, the highest paid man, he kept something started all the time. Did nobody like him. He was one big problem, but it was an experience. 5 weeks is all I played, and it was some of the roughest stuff I've ever went through. And I decided, this is not for me. Now, it was 2 of us that they thought they could sell the contract. That was me and this guy that played shortstop. And Cam called his name. I don't remember his name because I didn't mix that well with the only guy that I sit with was Yogi. Yogi was one of the stars, and then Billy Vaughn was the short one. Yogi could go between the legs and kiss their buttocks. And then we had another guy named Birmingham Sam, could play any position. He was a high paid guy too. But those were the 3 highest paid guys. Now, Crazy Legs I just called, he good at dancing. He did a show too. But the experience on that bus, sleeping on that bus, because Ed was glad when we had to sleep on that bus, because he saved money. Yeah. And now he followed us in his Cadillac. He let one of the black guys driving. But they resented me, and then you can ask me questions about how they treated me, how they looked at me.
Now, was Ed white or black?
Ed Hammond's white. He owned the team.
All right.
He followed us in a Cadillac. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
He was a good guy. Yeah.
Now,
but
where'd you go to high school? In Rome?
Yeah, I went to high school in Rome. The high school that I went to is still there. Yeah, it's still there, right down on East First.
What's it called? What's the name of the school?
Main High. It used to be Rome Colored School. Then used to have the 11th grade. Then it finally went to the 12th grade. But it was an all-black school. I had a good time in school.
Tell us about the sports you played in high school.
Basketball. I shouldn't have went on the team.
Tell us why.
I could shoot a 3 before they came out with 3. That's all I could do. I could burn the net, but I didn't play no defense. And I told them, but they would elect me every year. But see, I didn't play defense. I didn't know how to pass the ball and guard. I didn't want to guard nobody. But I could burn the net. I was shooting 3s when I was in high school. But I stayed on the team every year. I played in the band, played a trumpet, enjoyed school. Dated a lot of girls in school. Looking like a white boy, I could date a lot of black girls. I had no problem. Even after being grown, never had no problem dating black girls. And that's in Atlanta, that's Tifton, Georgia, different places, But I've dated white women as well as black women. But I was really resented by the whites in Rome. They call me the different name, nigga, this, and some of them, they very seldom said W-N, but they call me, I had a tough, I handled it well, it didn't bother me, it didn't upset me,
you were talking about dating a lot in high school. Were a lot of your black friends that were in high school with you, were they jealous of you?
If they were, I wasn't. I got along with most guys. And the girls, they were very nice. I didn't like milk, so they would give me their dessert for my milk and stuff like that. But I got along with everybody in school. I got along. I sit right there, the third seat from the teacher. I went in there to learn. I didn't go in there but I didn't. It was some guys that were jealous because of the girls or something like that. But didn't nobody. When they brought the 8th grade came from South Rome to Main High. After they graduated, Now them guys that came from East Rome and South Rome, they didn't like me. They called me, but I stopped all that. I didn't weigh but 100 and some pounds, but I grew up in the ghetto. And my mother let a boy beat me up when I was 8 years old. She said, "You're going to have to learn how to fight." And that was the only time I lost one. Never started a fight. But I've been in quite a few because of what you said, jealousy. I'm quite, but I try to, most time I got along with people, but I never started a fight. But it was an experience, but we only had one other girl that looked like me at that school, but she wasn't as light as me. But I got along with most people, and like I say, I was in the band and played basketball.
Now, did Maine High School ever have a baseball team?
After me, they had one after I did, and some of the guys that played with Lindale Dragons, such as Bridget Jones, Charlie Jones, and Alan Spiver was the catcher. That's when they had a team, and they won the championship. Cause see, they're some of the ones that was playing with me. There they are right there. I grew up with those people on that picture, and I played. They all could play baseball, basketball, and softball, and football. They all could play that. Those are the championship of the first baseball team that Maine High had. They won it. Yeah.
Now, who did they play? Like, who did you play in basketball? Who did they play in football? What
Oh, they played Noonan, Georgia, LaGrange, Cartersville, Chattanooga. What is it up there in Chattanooga? Howard run them. And you talking about playing some basketball? Boy, them boys was rough out there on that basketball court.
You talked to Bear High up in Chattanooga?
Yeah, I talked to him.
Now, his brother ran Randall High.
Really?
He was all state from Howard.
Well, I tell you what, they was something else. When they came here, they were doing stuff that we never seen before. Yeah, but Maine High had a good football team. They played LaGrange, but they never beat Cedartown. But they played Grange, Noonan, Atlanta, Alta Heights, and all those schools. Traveled by yellow bus and stuff.
Now, how old were you when you started playing for the Lindale Dragons?
Probably 16. Because after I come back, I started playing with them around 16, 17, somewhere in that area. I can't remember correctly. But that's when Nate McClintock had the team, and I joined. You had to sign a contract just like you did with the Clowns when you played with him.
Now, who were some of your teammates that the first time I came down here, we all got together and talked Negro baseball, and who were some of those guys you went to lunch with that day?
I got quite a few teammates still living. Humphrey Cole, he was an excellent ball player. He played second. Bridget Jones, they still living, and the Charlie Jones. One of the best home run hitters, the catchers, was that pitcher, Alan Spiver. He played. See, that's why we could beat all these other teams. Because we had a heck of a team, man. We had Charlie Fielder playing first. We had a guy that's in California now named Bud Jr. Chubb could run. We had defense. And we had offense. That's why the Clowns and the Philadelphia Stars couldn't beat us. Because we had a heck of a team. Nate McClintock had a heck of a team. Bud Jr., Bud Ransom, he's in California. He's the one that had the speed. Johnny Ware's dead, of course. Charlie Fielder's dead. Charlie Fielder gonna hit a home run every game. Now that Nate McClintock, he was something else. I don't know why he didn't go to the pros, because he should have went.
Now, who did he play with?
He played with the Chattanooga Choo-Choo and the Cleveland Buckeyes, for what I understand. Now they say he was turned down by the Birmingham Black Band, but I don't believe that. I just can't believe it, because I saw him. He pinch hit for us sometime and just walk out there and knock it out of the park. The Finley and Chattanooga saw him hit 3 in one day. Pinch hit.
Now they played in Lincoln Park.
Yeah, we played like the other team had to play when we were there. We had 2 teams on the bus, and we played in Lincoln Park. That was the only black place blacks could go in Chattanooga.
Explain about having two teams on the bus.
All right, like we go to a town and they don't have a team. Well, we had a team that we come out. They named themselves the Bales of this. They get themselves his name, and that's why they resented me, cause I was hurting their betting average, and they wanted me to get off that bus cause they were wanting to go somewhere, and they told me that you got no business on this bus. You whites, you need to go. But that's why, because I was hurting them. And see, I could hit. I hit the one to left field. And they went crazy. When I went to the dugout, hey man, you can hit. I said, man, I grew up hit. We used to throw rocks over and hit them with a broom handle stick. You know, but yeah, I was a hitter. I hit several home runs and stuff like that too. Hit the longest ball that the old black man told me ever been hit in Lyle, Georgia. But yeah, I used to hit home runs and stuff like that, but I could hit the ball. Yeah, couldn't run now. I have gotten thrown out going to first base from a left fielder. I was that slow. I was the slowest thing in the neighborhood. One guy I could outrun, that was Charles Anderson, that I grew up with.
The right fielder's the one that used to throw me out. I'd get hits all the time, you know.
I mean, I was that slow.
First base.
But I wasn't clumsy and all. And I'm gonna tell you something else. When I was playing Pony League, we'd go to South Rome. That's what the league was. And when we come back, we had to go in the back door of the Crystal round back. I never went in the front door. If my teammates had to go black, I would go to the back. I never pretended to be white and then go in the front door. I never did that. I got along with all of them. We had a good Pony League team too.
It didn't bother you with the color of your skin, did it?
I didn't let it bother me. You know, I never focused on who my daddy was. Because my mama, my auntie that raised me, she got married and it never bothered me. And then going to school, it just didn't bother me about my complexion. And like I say, I was received by a lot of people more than I was resented by a lot of people.
I want you to hold this up so we can see your mom.
Yeah, this is my black mother. Mm-hmm.
Now, I want you to hold up the picture of you when you were in high school.
Yeah, that's my high school picture there. Yeah. Yeah, that's. But I wasn't into. It didn't bother me about my complexion. And like I say, I was received by most people and treated. And I worked. I was always in the church. I was always in plays. You know, we used to ask for longer speeches and stuff like that. You know. Yeah, I was involved in an all-black church. I've been everything in there except a deacon. But that's the kind of background I had, you know.
When I met your wife the first time in Birmingham before I left that day, we were all in the little restaurant or, cafe there. I told her that he was the whitest black man I'd ever seen.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Now, we can talk like that, me and you together and your wife, but some of those guys down at the reunion, you couldn't joke.
Oh man, they resented me when I first started going.
Tell the story.
It was a black guy that he played with Mobile. I can't think his name, but he didn't like me being there when I walked in there. And I could understand why. Yeah, I was, when they've been denied to play the game because of the skin on me. So he resented me, and he told me, he said, "What you doing here? But after we got to know each other, we got along pretty good. But at first, he couldn't stand the idea. But there was a lot of them, hesitant. But I got, just like I told Doc, Doc said this. He said, "I never seen a man so proud of his heritage." I stood up for it, See, when Doc brought them white guys in there, that's where he messed up at. And I told him, I'm going to tell you the story right here now. He brought them white guys in there. They played with a Negro League team down in Louisiana. I said, I let him talk. I raised my hand. I said, "Doc, I said, you done brought these white guys in, you done stuck a dag in us. I said, now, we don't want to hear about it. And I asked that white guy, I said, which one of your parents black? He said, neither one. I said, well, how you going to be a Negro? I said, it's self-explanatory. And that's when Doc said, he never saw a man so proud of my hat than you. Because I wasn't going I just couldn't handle that. One of them wanted me to read about him. I said, I don't want to read about you. I don't want to know nothing about you. Here we work and play the game, you know. And he didn't, like I told him to his face, you stuck a dagger when you brought him in. I said, whatever Negro League team and it was in the 70s, it wasn't no. I said, they you know what, Keith, for letting you on the team. I didn't want to hear that junk out of that, you know.
Now, who'd you see? I remember you talking about the first reunion you went to.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of distanced themselves from you until one of your former players came.
Yeah. Yogi come in, and Yogi and Doc saw us embrace. Oh boy. But see, there was three guys that played with me that could stand up for me, you know. But and Yogi just died a year or two ago in Miami, and he and I sit together on the bus. He's the one that could go up on himself, you know. He did all that stuff, boy. He was as limber as you could see a guy doing. Yeah, that was a teammate, and Doc was happy to see us embrace, you know. But yeah, but I got to be, you know, I see like a lot of the guys then they were worried about what Doc was getting out of it. Now this is what I want you to understand about a black person. Here, a white man is flying all the way from a doctor from Dallas to come to Birmingham and get you set up, and you worried about what he paying. Now, I had to tell the black guy, it don't matter what he get. Look what he doing for you. I said, think about what the man doing. I said, the Atlanta Braves done had us down there 7 times. You wouldn't have went down there if it hadn't been for Doc. So if Doc getting any money, but they really stayed. I had to get J.C. Castleberry and another guy straight on that. Don't worry about what Doc getting. But I don't know what they got and don't care. But I know one thing, if it hadn't been for them, we wouldn't have got recognized, such as that Negro League Museum in Birmingham built from the ground up. The Atlanta Braves had it. We've been on the Roland Martin show. We've been on the Brian Gummer show. What you want to say?
I just lost my train of thought. Tell what Doc paid for when you went to Birmingham.
Yeah, Doc get us rooms, pay for the rooms and everything. A lot of times they feed us, you know. But here they is worrying about what Doc did, a lot of them. And then Doc was recognized in the Industrial League, but the Negro League didn't want him down there, such as Cole. But that Doc told him, say, all of you guys came from the Industrial League to the Negro League. Yeah. But it bothered me that I sit up there with black guys not realizing what Doc was doing for him. Such as you were down there. Why would you guys, I asked him, I said, what make you take an interest in old black ball players? If it weren't for you and Doc and other people such as y'all, what would black be? Wouldn't nobody know nothing about a black.
See, I felt uncomfortable the first reunion I went to. Now I talked to you.
Yeah.
And ever since then, we've always been close. But a lot of the guys didn't want to have anything to do with it. They didn't want to talk. You know, I was asking them if they played in Chattanooga and stuff like that.
Well, some of them, they was arrogant, you know. And like I say, the biggest talk was what he getting out of it. And that's why I just lit them up. I spoke to all of them like I'm speaking now. I lit them all up. I wasn't intimidated by them. I didn't care about them. I wanted them to know they ought to appreciate the man, giving us room. I tell you how they used him. They had locals staying in the hotel. Now, why you gonna take advantage of Doc and you living local? You stay at home and come over there and just enjoy. But you ain't got to get a motel and let Doc have to pay the bill every day. But that's how we had one guy stealing everywhere we went, stole something.
Dan, explain who Doc is so people know.
Dr. Leighton Ravel is from Dallas, like Butch mentioned, and he has probably the biggest Negro League memorabilia collection of anybody in the country. At the museum in Birmingham, probably 98% of the things that are in there are from his collection. And but he loves exhibiting his things, and he wants to let people know what happened in the Negro Leagues. And
Exactly.
I told him on the way down, you're the only guy that I knew before Doc met you. I came down here before he got here.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. But he is, and he's a giving person. And just like Butch said, what he paid for in his association, his little organization paid for in Birmingham. And I told him about when we went over to Chef's junior college over there.
You're right.
And his classes prepared all the meal and everything. I said it was uptown. I mean,
It was. And I tell you, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this. State Farm gave big barbecue. They stopped. People started just carrying stuff home, kid. And that doc would tell us, don't invite too many people. We go there, search sandwiches. Here they come, piling in. It was always no cooperation from a lot of the families of the ball team that I thought they should have gave Doc respect for. And how they abused the man that was, he brought this alive. Because that's why I asked the lady down in Atlanta, I said, why you want us down here 7 times? She said, well, y'all need the Braves need to, let me hang up, man. I asked the Atlanta Braves, I said, why y'all want us down here? I said, we've been down here 7 times. She said, they need to know what you guys went through. But there again, they worried about Doc. And that's what I resented most of all. I'm going to use the word resented them. To hear my guys that, I know what they had to go through before me. They were older than me, most of them. And then they worried about what Doc was doing for them, getting out of it. It don't matter. But that's another thing. And then, like I say, they were abusing State Farm, so they cut it out.
Yeah, without Doc, we wouldn't know all this history. Without a lot of things Doc's done.
Cam,
Huh?
Doc. I said Cam and Doc.
That's right. Yeah, and see, Cam is the one that wrote the book, put me in the book, and he's doing a book. And I asked Cam, it's just amazing that how, and it's always been, if it hadn't been for white people, blacks wouldn't have went to the Underground Railroad, all that. It goes back to slavery. It's always been some good white. You can't say all whites are bad, but it's the way it was. But you always had some, look at the money and the time you and Doc and everybody else, and you are part of you black history up there in Chattanooga. I mean, I appreciate you guys. And I tell kids when I speak at school, don't wait till the teachers teach you. Y'all got these computers, learn about your own black history. My cousin was the first black woman to advertise for Coca-Cola on the billboards. I can show you a picture of her right now if you want to see it.
What was her name?
Her name was Mary Kaiser.
I think I did research on her.
I got a picture of her right now if you want to see it. Now, when I was born, Mary was 10 years old. Grandma Bama said, go down there and see about Bertie Green and that baby. And I can call her right now in Ocala, Florida. But she was the first black lady to advertise for Coca-Cola. And I got the magazine right here now for you to see.
He's got a picture of her.
Yeah.
She's in our museum in Chattanooga.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, we have a corner dedicated to
That's
Coca-Cola.
right. She was, She was also married to Night Train Lane, which was a
Football player, Hall of Fame.
played for the Detroit Lions.
Yep. Defensive.
He
back.
just died about 5 years ago, maybe. His record wasn't broken until about 5 years ago.
Every year that he played professionally, he led the league in interceptions. I mean, he was an elite ball player.
So when he would come home and I would talk to him, he said, Butch, I'm scared of a baseball. I said, are you really?
Oh,
But he always said he was scared of, but he played baseball with the Negro League, didn't he?
yeah.
I
Y'all
think
never- when y'all played baseball, though, you never tackled anybody, did you? All right. I want to ask you about, explain a little bit about the pensions that Doc and Cam worked on and how that started.
Yeah, they finally got the pension, and the ones that did get the pension are the ones that played 4 years. Can you imagine going through all that thing staying with different teams 4 years? But they toughed it out. They toughed it out. They loved that baseball game, and they toughed it out. So that's who they got the pension for. It was 4 years, and now they're doing it for they're trying to get everybody that even played just 1 year a pension. I've had the call to say they were going to try to get me one, but I don't know. I just appreciate the recognition that we got. Because, like I say, Bryant Gumbel was there, Roland Martin was there, and the Braves, and in that museum in Birmingham. It's just a lot been accomplished by people like you all.
See, when Major League Baseball started giving out pensions, with that, they were acknowledging that they were wrong back in the day, you know, in 30s and 40s. And the reason blacks didn't come into the major leagues was because the white players would have lost their positions, lost their jobs. They didn't want that, so they kept them out as long as they could. And what they did too was you had to show that you played 3 years, 4 years. So what Cam and Doc did, they went to all these newspapers all over the country, podunk towns, and they found box scores with the person's name on it, or they may have hit a home run, or they pitched a good game and their name, they acknowledged. But they, like St. Paul, Minnesota, Cam get on the internet and find somebody's box score from 1942, and stuff like that. And you remember how much the first guy that got his pension, how much the check was for?
No, I don't.
It was for $152,000. Retro. From 1950, when you had a chance to go to the major leagues, you didn't. They paid him all that. And so they were acknowledging they'd made a mistake.
One other thing pertaining to me, I never was interviewed. Cam brought stuff here. Now my manager was Nate McClintock. He said, you average 12 to 14 strikeouts a game, Butch. Cam brought a paper saying I struck out 15 that day. Never was interviewed, but I've been wrote about that. There's been Doc and Cam that has brought articles on me that I knew nothing about.
Really?
And the one article I tried to have for you here, and I couldn't find it, where I struck out 15 that day. It's in the paper. I don't know. I can't find it. I done had to clean this out, and I went through my drawer, but I can't find it. But
You tell Faye if she finds it. Y'all find that, they'd let me know. I'll come down here and make a copy of it.
I can send you a copy. I'll mail it to you. You ain't got to drive down here.
Well, I
But,
don't want to drive down here to see you.
But I never realized, even at that time, what level I was on. I never thought I was good. But at that time, what I was doing, and just like Doc said, you was just an extraordinary pitcher, Now, I'll tell you what the guy went to Tennessee State said. The guy. He said, Butch, you the best pitcher beside Ernest Long I ever seen. He said, the best two pitchers I've ever seen was Ernest Long.
There's an article in here that he's speaking of. Flip it over.
You had,
It's in there.
This is what you're talking about. there.
Every time I come down here, they keep pulling stuff out I've never seen.
Sounds like going to your house would be.
No, this is something else. This is something else. I forget. I don't know what that is. It's on a white piece of paper. Well, I struck out 15 that day.
Okay. It's not in there. Okay. Thank you.
Now you said, were you like when you started? Were you like 6'2", 6'3", and how much? Do you
Well, I didn't. I played with Lindale. I say, I know it was either 16 or 17, and then I know it was 17 when I went with the Philadelphia Stars.
You were like
That was in '61.
You were like 6'3". How much did you
I
weigh?
didn't weigh but 165 pounds, 6'3.5", and I had a good overhand fastball and curveball. Everything was overhand. I didn't do no sidearms or nothing, just overhand. And I'm gonna tell you about my curveball. Nate McClintock had to call timeout a lot of times because the umpire done called it a ball. It's coming at your arm, but like it's gonna hit you, and all at once it boom over the plate. And he had to call timeout several times on account of that curveball I had.
He gave up on it. The umpire gave up on it.
Yeah, he thought it was a ball. He didn't know it was gonna break over the plate. So I had a guy that ducked over the plate, and I called timeout, and Cole will laugh about it today. He said, "You called timeout." I went up and told that boy, I said, "Don't duck over that plate." Well, he did it again. He hit him in the top of the head and went over the backstop. I told him, "Don't duck over that plate."
Yeah.
Yeah. But I had a heck of a curveball. I could throw it on. I didn't like to walk nobody, so I could throw that curveball on 3 ball. I just tell the guy to get ready in the outfield. Oh, I didn't never tell this down there because nobody would believe it, but Billy Finley played outfield. He would sit on the ground and say, "Ain't nothing coming out here." Nate McClintock's boy told him down there when I spoke at the Historical Museum last year, they didn't hit it, they didn't tip it. But that's what other people, I tell people, let other people brag about you. You know, you don't have to brag about yourself if you did anything. Other people gonna brag on you, you know. I had to tell Little Slack at a funeral. He was down there bragging about A player. Let me talk about you. I said, don't brag on yourself, man. But we had a lot of good ball players in Rome, Georgia. And we had some that come from, we had a couple of white guys played on our team in Rome, Lindale Dragons. They were yarbers. One of them is still alive. He worked at the bank, retired. But they could catch. He was a catcher. And then him and his brother both played. And we had one guy that played with us that was good, one of the best out of Calhoun. Neighbor Clinic would, the toughest team I ever pitched against wasn't no Negro League team. It was the Gaston All-Stars. He got all the teams of the Gaston. But they said All-Star when I was, but I made him break he recruited within a 100-mile radius the best college players that he could. I made him break every stick they had, plus 3 of ours. Because, see, I didn't pitch down the middle, I pitched corners.
Tell a little bit about Ernest Long and what we attempted to do.
Yeah.
Times.
Ernest Long, he played with the Kansas City Monarchs, I believe. And I know he played with the Buckeye and the Choo Choo. His wife is still living out there now, but she won't give up nothing. And nobody can, I'm trying to get, we went out there, but she wouldn't let us in or open the door.
I told him about the time we went out there and I stayed in the car and you went up and knocked because she knew you.
Yeah, she knows
I
me.
got out, she wouldn't come, but she didn't come for him either.
No, she won't.
And what did she?
No, she's still living.
Yeah.
I'm sure she got something of his things out there. I would like for us to, somebody would be able to go in that house and see what she got of Ernest Long, because he played quite a few years.
I was looking in the book. I think they had the names of those Gadsden teams.
Yeah, you did. You the one named them. You the one read about them.
Gadsden Tigers, Gadsden Red Sox, Gadsden Giants, Gadsden Chiefs, Gadsden Florida Tigers. So they had a bunch of teams.
Yeah, they did. And the guy that was the manager of the one was Lindsay. And his brother told me, AJ, said my brother recruits within a 100-mile radius, the best college players. He said that's why they're so tough. But they could play them. But we beat them every time we played them,
We
though.
got coming up, is it March?
March, there'll be the HBCU exhibition game.
Yeah, two black baseball teams are going to play in Chattanooga.
Really?
Exhibition game.
Great. That's nice. You know, I still like Chattanooga. I like to go to Hamilton Mall, and I know the best restaurants up there. I used to go over there on what's that road?
Brainerd,
Brainerd Road over there to
Herman's.
Herman's. Yeah, you go over there?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Bee's restaurant?
Bees, nah,
That's the place you need to go.
really.
It's family style. They got a, what do you call that big thing in the
Oh, wait a minute now. Yeah, I have. You talking about what a table revolves. This boy, you get in Chattanooga, go through Lafayette, and they got the wishbone chicken.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, man. Shoot, man. I've been there several times.
When I was in college, we used to go over there. They hated to see us come.
And they got some good eating over there, but
One of my friends, we got in there, and he was just, you know, he was like 155 pounds, and he could eat that chicken. He'd eat twice what I eat. Well, the waitress came over there. He said, "We need some more chicken." She said, "No, I'm not going to bring any more." He said, "Why not?" She said, "We're not cleaning those bones." So he got a plate, set it here, got each bone, cleaned it, put it here, and finished that whole plate that he had, and then handed her all those bones with no meat on, so she brought us some more.
well, she had to, because it was all you could eat. She had to bring some more. She couldn't deny that. I had one guy, man, he could eat like you say. Yeah.
It's not the big guys that eats, it's the little guys.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I don't know, the big guys can eat.
Well, there's an exception to every
But
conversation.
we're gonna do everything we can to have this history out there. The kids need to hear it. Everybody needs to hear about the Negro Leagues and the times and things that you went through. And that's one of the things that we're working at the Bessie with the Lookouts to make sure that we do that. And we've signed a 2-year agreement with them to do the Negro League weekend this year and next year so that we can highlight that information. And then they're looking at building a new stadium, and they'll have information on the Negro League and the new stadium, because it's something we need to make sure is kept. And Dan's been great to help us with all the information. And then when he told us about you, we were like, gotta go down there and meet Butch.
And you know, that's one thing I can appreciate guys like you. Because you just don't really, blacks don't have no idea of what y'all go through to publicize about them. And like I tell the black kids at school when I speak to 17, 18, look up your own black history. I say, everybody can't be a pro. Everybody, y'all interested in football and basketball. I say, this is a baseball. But before I tell them what they need to learn about their own black history. And if it weren't for guys such as you all, what would be going on for black? Like that Bessie Ross in Chattanooga. Look what that's all about. The Negro League in Birmingham Museum. And then you got the Braves doing what they can do for you. Oh man.
Well, just after I'd come down, my wife and I, a couple weeks ago, I had called Doc to see how he was doing. And I told him that you commented about him and Cam and me, and about, you know, it was difficult for you to understand why we did this. And I told that to Doc, and he said, if we don't do it, who's going to?
That's it.
There's nobody coming along, so. But now, tell a little bit about the league that the Lindale Dragons.
Okay. After that, after Mike, it was the George Gibson League, And we won that. I pitched 9 innings down there, and Cole hit the home run. That was held in Roswell, Georgia. And I met a guy named Mill Brooks. Doc know Mill Brooks. He played Canadian ball. He walks up to me and say, Butch, he don't even know me. He said, man, you could really make some money if you come to Canada and play baseball. But I didn't realize what level I was on. Or I wasn't interested in that.
You just enjoyed playing.
I just enjoy playing baseball. That's it. But and he says, hey, man, they're gonna pay you good up in Canada. But I didn't focus on that at all. His name Mill Brooks. Doc know Mill Brooks, but I didn't know him. He was from Mayretta. He just died a few years ago too. But he walked up to me like he knew me and told me, said, and that's why he saw me pitch those 9 innings at the George Kipling. And they had umpires that when they paid umpires to umpire that ball game, the George Kipling League. And we won that championship that year. Cole hit the home run and I pitched 9 innings. Yeah. The toughest team, I don't know who this was. They from Chattanooga. Nate McClintock scheduled a game with them. So they come down in cars. So first 2 men, I don't know, I got them out. The third man hit a home run off of me. So I got the 4th man out, I don't know how. Instead of me going to my dugout, I walked toward them. I said, y'all won't see nothing else today. And they said, well, we'll see. When they left to go back to Chattanooga, it was 3-1, favor Lindale. They didn't see nothing else that day. But I had confidence, but I didn't think, I never thought I was good, but I believed in myself. And I set them down, they all shook my hand, they got back in the car and went to Chattanooga. I don't know who they were, but they scheduled that team. They were supposed to have been a good team out of Chattanooga. But that one guy hit that home run. I never had a home run hit off me before. And I told them, y'all won't see nothing else today, and they didn't. They left here 3-1. That's what you lack when you got to believe in yourself. That's why I tell kids, at school, believe in yourself. Y'all come in here and don't pay attention to these teachers, you're hurting yourself. I said, without teachers, you wouldn't have nobody in the White House. Without teachers, I said, you better listen. You better learn to love yourself and come in here and try to pass. No, man. Because I tell you what, I tell them, I say, y'all up here where I went to school. I said, all the black kids that went to school up here were poor. I said, I don't know that y'all poor. I said, but look at these houses over here now. I said, because they applied themselves, look what kind of home they got up here now. And I told the teachers, I said, you can take them door to door and they'll tell you they finished high school here and went on to college and got a job. And we got nice houses up there. I try to encourage, lift kids up. I've always been that way, It's just.
You were talking about the young kids not being interested in baseball, and the thing is, they fail to realize it would be easier for them to go pro in baseball than it would definitely basketball or football. But, everybody wants to shoot the 3 and slam dunk. That's all they see on TV, and that's what they want to do. And they got their own shoes, so they gotta buy the shoes. But if you look at percentages in the major leagues today, you've got white players, you've got Hispanic players, and then you have black players. And you got Japanese players too, and they may be about to overtake the black players. But I mean, it would make sense to me. Of course, some of these kids don't have someone to guide them. That's
right. And you want to know the truth. I met the guys. They don't even speak English. Most of the black guys, they from these islands, because they can play year round. Very few American black guys playing baseball. And a lot of them, they don't want black guys, they're not interested. But like you saying, I'm going to say this. This is my question to Doc, Dan, all of it. In 1925, a black man could play football. Either 20 years, 25. I said, now what's the logic? You gonna let a stinking black man, which all of them out there on that football field stinking, body slam you. I said, but you don't want a black man to swing at your ball. Now, where's the logic behind that? Huh? Can you realize that you gonna let a black man body slam you on the football field in 1925? You can pull it up, look it up. But here is in the 1940s and they don't want a black man playing baseball. What's the logic? And they say, most people say it's not in the logic behind it. But I mean, why did it? And just like you said, the white players would lose their position. I never knew that. I never thought on that level. But I do know this: the white teams in Rome, they said they would play early to come and see us play, because they would see us sliding, blunting, and all that. They didn't do that. So that's your point, because that's what they would do. They could run faster, slide, steal. So you probably right. That is the
Defense.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's what won you a lot of your games that you pitched. I mean, your teams did. I mean, you beat somebody. It's 3-0, 3-1, 2-0, but you had defense behind you.
You sure enough, that's the only reason we beat the Clowns and the Steelers. We had a good team, defense and offense. But you got to have good defense. I mean, I had some guys who play shortstop, third base, second base, and that outfield. Oh man, they could run it. You ain't they gonna run that ball down, but. And that, like I said, Charlie Field, I wish you could have met him. He gonna hit a home run every game. Played first. He was 6'5", but boy, he could hit that ball. Old Charlie Field. Yeah.
If you wanted to leave us with something, you personally, something you want to say concerning baseball, concerning the Negro Leagues, concerning kids growing up today, what would you tell us?
Well, my main concern today is blacks really thrive to do better in school. They need to get an education. But if they're going to play sports, I wish more blacks had interest in the United States blacks to play baseball. But they find that it's more basketball and football. But now, like we were just saying, those islands got these guys, they play year round, see, so that's why they can do it. But they can't speak no English. It was about 10 of them over there at a cafe that played with the Braves out here. Couldn't now one of them speak English. It was about 10 of them. And I talked to the manager out here this year. He's a black manager. He told me they were weak on pitching. They didn't have a good pitching staff this year. So that's why they say they lost most of their games. But they just don't take interest in baseball. And that's a bad thing, because that used to be one of the most popular games it was, you know.
What I'd like to do if I ever finish my book, is I'm going to give one to every elementary school and junior high in Chattanooga, in Hamilton County, and I'm going to let them know I would like to come out and share with them, because these kids have never heard the story. They don't know who Willie Mays is or Satchel Paige, you know, and even, you know, Frank Robinson. I mean, you know, these players, Don Newcomb, Roy Campanella, they've never heard their names. Nobody in their home has ever shared with them, you know. But my wife and I came down a couple springs ago. We went to Talladega College and we went to Tusculum. At Talladega College, it was spring break. It was a beautiful campus, man. Buildings still from the 1800s, and I mean, it was gorgeous. Well, I found the baseball field, surprise. But they were practicing. All the boys stayed there during spring break practicing, and about 2/3 of that team were Hispanic and from the islands.
That's right.
And he had about 4 or 5 just, you know, regular white or black guys from probably the South, but the rest of the team couldn't speak English. But that kind of surprised me. But they had a good ball team.
Let me tell you what I've experienced with the little 8, 10-year-old baseball teams here in Rome. Well, I had a guy say, "Butch, come and see my grandson play." So I went out there. And what they're doing, they're hurting the black guys. They put them out there in the outfield. Well, no balls are coming out there. So they don't come back the next year. They bored. They out there playing with rocks. So I told one of the coaches, I said, why you think every black guy's supposed to play in the outfield? So the next week he had them playing in the infield. I said, but you got to let them all play. You're out there to teach them the fundamentals of baseball. You're not out there to win. I said, that's what's wrong with most of you managers. Y'all want to win. That's not what these guys are 8 years old. They need to learn how to play the fundamentals of the game. But that's and that's why a lot of black guys, I'm telling you what I know, because my nephew didn't go back no more. They get bored playing out there, and no balls coming out there. So just like you want to get them introduced, but you got to talk to the guys who going to have these teams, man. Because they think, and a lot of blacks do want to play baseball, but they get bored the first year they play because no action out there. Them kids can't hit no ball in the outfield. They're 8 years old. And I had to go down there and talk to everybody at a baseball game. The other was the parents. The umpire, you cheating. I said, I had to talk to them like I was the male Rome. I said, hold it. I stood up. I said, let me tell y'all something. Don't let them kids hear you say the umpires are cheating. I said, your kids are down here. Y'all need to stop talking about they're good, because they're not good at 8 years old. I said, so y'all, the fans is more of a problem than they want to put their kids in the game. And to say about umpires cheating. You don't let kids hear they say that. You don't want the kids to respect you. And let the coaches handle them kids, you know. But like I had to talk to several coaches how they put them out there in the outfield, and they don't come back the next year. I mean, they don't.
Well, see, all that comes from leadership, the manager.
That's
They're
right.
out there, these 8-year-olds, and they got to win. Well, see, the kids are out there to play, and by the end, halfway through the season, you've got these coaches win, and cheating and all that, and that's where the kids get mad and upset. But if they don't start all that stuff, the kids are still coming out there and playing because they love the game and they're just having fun, you know. But it's leadership that really hurts them.
That's it. That's it exactly. But like you say, you got to have managers who can change that, because they went at it. You know, years ago they redid all over the California everywhere, redid for the kids. But there again, they put them in the outfield and they didn't come back no more.
Started that RBI program, and it went well in Chattanooga for a while. Now, they have state tournaments and everything.
Yeah.
That's for inner city kids. But I haven't heard much about it lately. But everybody was fired up about it when it got started. It was new and improved, you know, and they're going to do well with it. But, you know, it just went down. I don't know what they've got going on now in Chattanooga. I know in Nashville they got a lot going on with
Yeah.
the RBI.
Well, the only thing I want to say, if it wasn't for the type people such as you all, it wouldn't be no education of educating what a black have went through to play baseball, and where they don't even it's hard to get blacks to play baseball now. But I hope, as long as you guys, I hope you can really reach them out. I really do. I would appreciate it if y'all could reach that, because that's a good game.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a skillful game too, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Get back to those coaches again. You have to have coaches that can teach the game, how to field a ground ball, you know, how to catch, you know, behind the plate, how to block it. But, you know, it's just win, you know, strike out, hit a home run. They don't teach them the fundamentals. And that's another reason that kids don't come back.
No, sure don't. You're right. You're exactly right.